What's going on, guys? And oh boy, has it been a minute. Um, I haven't filmed anything with this channel in
A long time,
probably well over a year.
at least.
But you are back with Mindy and Sam. And yes, we are bringing back vlogging with disabilities. But we are bringing it back in a big way. For those of you that don't know, I started vlogging with disabilities probably 7 years ago now,
I think.
on and off. But I really started getting into it about 3-4 years ago.
Yeah.
We did a lot of cooking videos. I did a lot of what it was like to live in reality day to day with a disability. And I just sort of lost interest in the channel because it wasn't getting any traction. It really wasn't going anywhere. But kind of want to breathe new life into it because Mindy and I have made a major life change, and it's not a small life change. It's a big
It's a big deal.
life change. Those of you that did follow the channel, Mindy and I have now been together
For years.
we've been together for 10 years.
Married.
Married for 9. And some of you don't know, some of you do, that the last 2 of those,
9 years.
well, I don't want to say the last 2 because it's been almost a year that
Yeah.
we've made this life change. But previous to this last year, 2 years before that, so 15 and 16,
To 8.
and the bulk of 17.
Yeah.
Minnie and I had some major issues.
Boy, we ever.
And, this is just an intro letting you know that we're bringing back the channel. So we'll get more into those in a little bit. But we had some major issues, but that has since changed. And you guys will understand why as the video goes on. But yes, vlogging with disabilities is coming back. But it's going to be very different. And you guys will understand why once you see the video. But, this is just kind of the intro, letting you know that the channel is coming back. There's going to be some major changes that you will understand once you see the video. But we're just going to go ahead and get into it. And we'll see you guys after the video. Peace out. Alright guys, as I mentioned in the intro, Mindy and I are bringing back vlogging with disabilities in a rather big way. And it's going to take a little bit of explaining as to how we got to this point. Because this is basically going to be a video letting everybody know that we are polyamory. I want to introduce everybody to Annette.
Hey, everybody.
You guys know us. But to learn how we got here, we're going to tell you guys our story. For those that don't know, Mindy and I have been together about 10 years now. Married for 9 years now. We met in the latter part of 2008 through a mutual former friend of ours. And I really wasn't looking to meet anyone because I had just gotten out of alcohol rehab. I needed to get myself straight first. But when Mindy and I met, things just kind of...
We hit it off pretty well.
Snowballed, and I'll let her get into that.
Like Sam said, we met and, we hit it off really well. I had been dating this guy that was his friend at the time, and him and I had become friends because this guy, who I will just call D, he went to a backyard barbecue with some friends and included Sam in that. Sam calls me from the barbecue and tells me, hey, me and Dee went to this backyard barbecue. And I'm going, I care why? And he goes, you care because Dee had his hands all over some other chick. Me being who I am, I'm not okay with that. Not by a long shot. So I called Dee. I said, what are you doing, dude? He says, oh, I was just trying to keep her off of me. And I said, yeah, dude, I might have been born last night, or I might have been born at night, but it wasn't last night. I'm not the idiot you think I am. So until you can fly right and stop lying to me, you can lose my number. At which point I called Sam back, and him and I talked that entire night.
And I fell hard. I smacked that concrete and went straight through it. In fact, I believe that barbecue was in April. And I came down to see you at the end of June.
Mm-hmm.
I know it was the end of June because I was coming back right around the 4th of July.
Right.
But yeah, like I said, I came to see her right around the end of June. Spent 2 weeks together and just fell even harder. So much so that we got married a year later.
I mean, it was Incredible Hulk meets concrete.
We actually got married in December of 2009. And we spent the first year of our marriage I was living in Pennsylvania. She was living in Reno, Nevada. And it was tough. But we worked it out, you know. And I moved down there in 2010. Well, I'm going to say it was towards the summer. Of 2010?
I think, yeah.
Well, towards the summer of 2010, I ended up moving back to my parents briefly to help my parents out because my mom had just gotten pregnant with my sister. And, you know, my dad was going at quite a distance to work. So I needed to be there to help out with my 2 younger brothers, who at the time were, I think, 6 and 7.
Okay.
So I did that for a short while, and then I moved back to Reno. And, you know, throughout this whole time, our relationship is amazing. You know, we couldn't ask for more. We were both disabled. We both understood each other. But towards the beginning of 2014, we had started losing benefits. So I had, you know, made some calls, and we had decided to move back to Pennsylvania. So in the summer of 2015, we made that move. We moved here in August of 2015. And, you know, that move was quite a strain. Because we'd lived in Reno for 6 years. We'd built up quite a life. You know, she went from seeing her mother at least twice a week.
At least.
To not seeing her at all. And I'm not sure if it was stress that did it, but towards the end of that year, our relationship really started to decline. And I mean bad. I mean, we weren't communicating. And when we were communicating, it was via very heated arguments. We were not being physically intimate. And, you know, this went on 2016, 2017, 2018, to the point we hadn't been physically intimate.
For at least 2 years.
For at least 2 years, almost 3. And I was at the end of my rope. And this is where you need to chime in here, because you met Annette first.
Right. And I met Annette through a Facebook group that is in support of the disability that her and I share in common, which is spina bifida. You know, we found out that she lived one state line away. I found out that her and I are almost medical twins. It's insane.
I think the only difference between you is a little bit of height and an ostomy stoma.
I mean, there's only 3 differences between us. 2 inches. I'm 2 inches taller. She has an ostomy stoma, which I do not. And she has such severe scoliosis that she has a titanium rod encasing her spine, which I do not.
And, you guys might see on the screen that this is through Facebook call, and that is because right now she is currently in a facility recovering from a severe wound. She's actually been in the stage of that recovery October, November, December.
For like 4 months now?
Just about 4 months. No, 4 months exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sorry.
It's fine. But, her and I met. We hit it off. Because we had that in common. We were like thicker than sisters. It was freaky how similar we were medically. So her and I and her husband at the time, and we'll get to that later, had decided to meet up. Sam was totally against it, didn't want to go there, because he didn't know these people.
Sorry, I just don't trust people online.
But, so then it was, what?
Early March.
That me and Sam had met Annette and the man that she was married to at the time for the first time. And her and I hit it off pretty well. Looking back on it, I could tell there were some red flags going up.
Now, I have to say, as we stated, Mindy and I been having problems for 2 years, almost 3 at this point. We weren't communicating, we weren't speaking, other than, the normal day-to-day stuff. Hey, honey, did you do this? What do you want for dinner?
Hey, babe, do you need another Coke?
We weren't
what have you.
actually communicating at all. So, as much as I didn't want to, the minute Annette walked in the door, I fell in love with her.
He hit the concrete again.
And the moment I walked through the door and laid eyes on Sam, time completely stopped.
Which I was completely oblivious to.
Which again comes back to communication, because had we been communicating, that might not have happened.
Mm-hmm.
At least,
yeah,
for me.
Yeah.
But, for weeks, I fought it. And actually, Annette had to drag it out of me.
Now, I understand that what we're about to say is going to, Annette, make you look like the freaking villain. There will be no villainous comments.
Quite frankly, it's going to make me look like an ass too, because, to be perfectly honest, I was. But at the same time, you weren't going to change. You had no desire to change. I really didn't give a shit anymore.
Mm-hmm. There will be no villainous comments towards either one of these two people.
But at the end of March, Annette and I ended up sleeping together.
And when I found out, I was understandably pissed. You know, one thing you have to understand about me, I am well known within family circles for my temper.
Just admit it, you've got your dad's temper through and through.
No joke. You know, but, and when that happened, I was understandably hurt, and I let fly with said temper.
You know, and at this point, Mindy and I were done. I wanted it to be done. In fact, looking back on it, I think you can realize there were a few times that I tried to end it and you just wouldn't let it happen.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I was ready to move on to AJ or Annette, and that would be it. I was perfectly content with that decision. You know, I was going to get her away from her estranged husband, which we'll get into in a minute. And we were going to move on with our life together. Boy, did that come to a screeching halt. Because
Within a couple of weeks.
No, that came to a screeching halt the night you found out.
Yeah.
Because you told him.
Yeah, I did. And if I hadn't been so angry and hurt, I probably wouldn't have told him, for the simple fact of what he put you through. I would have let him be snowballed by it. Because knowing what I know now, he deserved it.
You know, but with what happened after that, Mindy and I came to the decision together, even though, for lack of a better term, she hated me, but she knew that I wasn't in. She knew I was completely in love with Annette. And don't get me wrong, guys. I still loved Mindy.
Just in a different way.
Not even so much that, but
No?
you couldn't, for whatever reason, love me. You hadn't loved me in almost 3 years at this point.
Yeah, for whatever freaking reason.
But we both came to the mutual understanding that we needed to get her out of there.
Because Annette was being abused and neglected severely.
And I think Annette needs to tell that story.
Oh, that was a nightmare and a half. You see, I come from a very strict, very firm, by-the-book, Christian adopted family. Where the mindset, you date to get married. You don't date to date. That's just not how it works. So when my estranged husband and I started dating, I knew where it would lead. And no matter how many people came up to me with, oh, there's this red flag, oh, there's this red flag, oh, there's this red flag, I was like, yeah, I know. Thank you for telling me that you see that. There's nothing I can do. I'll just try to work through it with him later. 3.5 years into our marriage, I started seeing all these red flags ramp up in a hurry.
And I don't mean to speak for you or interrupt you, but I remember you telling me that it got to the point with his being so abusive towards you that you went to your adoptive father and said, look, he's doing X, Y, Z. He is being abusive. Here's the evidence. You're abusive.
I even showed him the marks on my neck where he had been giving me his neck rubs. And my so-called adopted father was like, oh, he's just being a little extra rough. You just need to tell him how to tone it down.
And your adoptive father, in fact, told you, you made a promise to God. Now deal with it.
You made a promise to God. You can't break a promise to God. Suck it up and move on.
But to move this along, we ended up getting you out of there, which in and of itself was a nightmare and a half.
Yeah.
Because we ended up dealing with some severe harassment because of it, which led to us almost being evicted, but we still ended up having to move anyway because they said they weren't going to renew our lease. It was just a shitstorm and a half.
Yeah. It culminated with the apartment getting broken into and me almost getting kidnapped and the three of us getting seriously hurt.
Attacked.
But before all of that, when you had first got there, Mindy and I had, we had decided between the two of us that we were done. She was sleeping on the couch. And to be honest, I really don't know how the triad happened.
That was me.
Mm-hmm.
I brought that up.
Well, why don't you elaborate on that a little bit?
I started seeing how much you still love Mindy. And I started seeing, despite how much she was trying to hide it, how much she was devastated what was happening and how much she still loved you. And I started thinking, okay, how can I help them?
And that's when you let on that you were bi-curious.
Mm-hmm. And in one of me and Mindy's private talks in the bedroom, I was like, it actually started out with me asking Mindy a question. I asked her, so, I'd always been wondering, what's it like to kiss a girl?
And I was like, I have no idea.
I was like, I'm kind of curious. And it just snowballed from there.
And to be fair, that snowball almost collapsed because of your wound.
Yeah, it did.
Mm-hmm.
Unbeknownst to the three of us, my wound, which had been festering at this point for about 3 years, had such a severe infection in it that the infection had reached my brain to the point where I was fighting tooth and nail. Everything both Sam and Mindy were trying to ask me to do. Anything they would say, I would find some way to weasel around it.
You know, all we were trying to do at that point was get you established so we could get out of there and not be stuck for winter.
Yeah.
It had actually gotten to the point we pulled her off of the leasing paperwork. When Minnie and I got all our paperwork together for the apartment that we're now in. And had I realized that all of this was the infection and what was going to happen with pulling Annette off the leasing paperwork, I never would have done it.
But like they say, hindsight is 20/20.
Because now, unfortunately, Annette cannot get on our lease because of that. But at the time, I really didn't care because I didn't know about this brain infection stuff. I had felt financially, physically, and emotionally used.
Not to mention sexually.
That was the whole physical.
Yeah, sorry.
But, yeah, Minnie's right. I had felt sexually used. I had felt financially used. Because when we brought her into this, she had no money. We were paying for all the extra food, you know, all the extra utility usage. We were paying for her documents, which she wasn't doing the legwork that she needed to do to get said documents. And when she would do the legwork, she would do it wrong and then just give up.
Which was not her.
No, my personality is, when I'm on step A, already have planned out steps B through Z. Exactly where I want it to take me.
And we ended up, you went to the hospital
September 22nd.
September 22nd. We moved out October 1st. And I was completely done. I was gonna, because I had promised to help you get your ID and get you the paperwork that you needed to get that done, I was gonna do that. We were gonna help you get a Straight Talk phone that you would have been responsible for. And I was done.
Mm-hmm.
But, you know.
Something had happened. I think she had gotten a package.
Mm-hmm.
And a bunch of mail.
Yeah.
That she, needed immediately.
Mm-hmm.
And she had gotten that the day that we moved.
Yeah.
And you took it to her, and
I could see the difference.
Because you had said in no uncertain terms that you didn't want to see me.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I was pissed.
You know, but when I went there to give her mail to Annette, I could see the difference between before she had been admitted to the hospital and now, and that point. And I'm like, okay, this is night and freaking day.
In fact, I think you were there for an hour because I was kind of pissed because
I had been there so long.
You know, and then Mindy comes back and she's talking to me and she's like, you got to give this another shot. You know, A, B, and C was going on, and I said, okay, this is the last time. And we ended up giving it another shot.
You know, just as a reference point, my grandpa died shortly after I met Sam. And when I came home from the hospital that day, and I was explaining to him, look, this is not her. This was an infection from hell. And I looked at him and I says, I put my hand on my heart and I said, I put it on my dead grandpa. This was not her.
Now, we need to back up a little bit. Because secretly, before AJ, Annette, and I had slept together, we had been talking all month long. Especially when I found out you two were medically
So
twins.
freaking similar.
I was like, look, I haven't had sex with Mindy in 2 years.
What do you think it could be?
Going on here?
Mm-hmm.
And guys, I realize I'm jumping around, but you need to understand everything that happened. We had been talking secretly, and the more and more we talked, the more and more we fell in love. And by the time that you and I had slept together, I was completely in love with you. And yes, I still loved you, but I knew for whatever reason
something was up with me.
You could not love me, and I couldn't be in a relationship like that anymore. But you kept telling Mindy to do this and that and talk to the doctor about this. Get this blood work done, and she would never do that. And
because I felt like Annette was sticking your nose where it didn't belong.
But
and all I was thinking was, I hate seeing this happen. Sam's such a great guy. You're such a great gal. How can I help?
And I have to be honest, I don't regret what happened that day. I regret how it happened.
Yeah, the how was the regret.
But, back to when you were in the hospital, Mindy had to pretty much beg me to give you another chance.
Wow.
Yeah.
Because I was done.
There's still so much of those things during my infection days that are just either a blur or a complete blank.
Yeah, the thing you have to understand about me, I have diabetes on top of my disability. And unfortunately, that means that there are going to be times where my blood sugar is not stable. And that makes me act in very crazy ways. Ways that is not me. That is not who I am. That's not my personality. And I looked at him and I said, dude, you've been with me for 10 years. You know that when my sugar goes nuts, I react in ways that you can tell that is not me. That is not me. And I said, she's going through the same thing because of this infection in her brain.
And I was like, you know what? Okay, we'll give it another shot. And we did, and, it's kind of brought us to this point. And, now we've been together, the three of us, for almost a year.
Mm-hmm.
And it's been the best thing that happened. Now, I know the trolls are going to be like, this is sexual. No.
It's so much deeper than that.
The three of us are all disabled. And we get a lot of people drowning in their haterade because of us being disabled. So it's us against them.
And I want to tell you that this video is not asking for your input. This is explaining the choice that we have made, why we've made that choice, and you can either take it or leave it. That's on you. But in order to make the decision, you have to understand the choice that we've made.
And I don't know how the two of you feel, but as for me, this is us. And us is perfect.
Yep.
Now, you need to understand that Mindy and I have been together for 10 years, married for 9 of those years. We cannot legally get married because of Mindy's past. If she wants to explain that, that's fine. However, I do want you guys to know that as soon as her divorce is final, I will be legally marrying Annette. At least within a year of her divorce being final. And you guys might be going, well, you and Mindy have been together for so long, why don't you just marry her? Well, like I just said, because of her past, because of things that happened in her past, that can't happen. So Annette and I will be getting legally married. Now, you guys are thinking, I must be hot shit. I've got 2 women that I have. How many more am I going to add? And the answer to that question is none. We are
Big fat zero.
We are a closed throuple or triad, whatever you want to call it. We are closed. We are committed to the 3 of us.
And there's 2 different forms of the triad. There's where I'm involved with Sam and Mindy's involved with Sam and we're not involved with each other. Or then where the 3 of us are equally involved with each other. And that's where we stand.
And that could go the other direction too. You 2 could be involved with each other and not involved with me. But no, the route that we have taken is, yes, the 3 of us are involved with each other. Now, to be fair and explain everything, there is no hierarchy. We don't love one person more than another.
Yeah.
I will preface that by saying I do tend to have more conversations and spend a little bit more time with Annette because I have been with Mindy for 10 years. I can hear the plop in the toilet and know she's clogged the damn toilet, I can tell by the look on her face that she's feeling some kind of way and doesn't even have to say a word. So yes, I do spend a little bit more time, and will be spending more time with Annette until we get that bond.
And,
That's not to say we don't have a strong bond already.
and the same thing goes with me, Sam, and Annette. You know, Sam and I have been together so freaking long. We know each other like the back of our own hands, alright? You know, I know when his dyslexia is kicking his ass and I can help him through it. Annette, because of the background she comes from, is just learning that her opinions, her thoughts and feelings matter, and we are interested in them. So yeah, I spend a little more time with her to help her understand that, you know what? Bring on those opinions, those thoughts, those feelings. Let it out. We do give a crap about what you have to say, how you feel, what you think.
And a big part of this relationship working is communication.
Mm-hmm.
You know, we have to communicate with each other. Sometimes we have to knock each other's skulls around to initiate that communication, but it does happen.
But you've had occasion to do that with Mindy and me a couple of times.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, he has.
You know, communication is the biggest part of this. That's how this works. You know, Mindy and I know that we don't work as a single unit. We never will again. We don't know what happened to that. We don't care about what happened to that. What we care about is the future.
Yeah. You know, for any of you who may be Supernatural fans, it's like Dean said in an episode, what's dead should stay dead.
You know, and there's going to be religious freaks out there that are going to be like, oh my God, you know, this is completely wrong.
I just have a few things to say on that one to those religious freaks out there.
Bring it on.
I have a few names to drop. Moses, Solomon, David, all of the kings of the Old Testament. Actually, the only recorded monogamous marriage was not until the third book of the New Testament.
And despite that, this decision has nothing to do with religion, because I actually have a combination of beliefs.
So do I.
I am Wiccan, and I also believe in the Hebrew telling of the Bible and what is said by Yeshua, aka Jesus or God.
And I share same beliefs.
But primarily, I'm Wiccan.
And I'm just embracing the Wiccan religion, and I'm finding how beautiful it is.
And no, for everybody that's going to say it in the comments, we do not worship Satan.
No.
But that's not, we didn't make this decision out of religious belief. Mindy is almost an atheist. I say almost because she has a little bit of belief, but she's kind of like, whatever.
I'm one of those people. You do you, I'll do me. As long as you don't shove it down my throat, we're good.
And like I said, this decision was not made out of sexuality either. Sex is a huge part of this.
But it is not the main centerpiece.
Which,
No.
I'm just going to say it right out. The sex is amazing.
Amanda?
Yeah.
Whether we're all three of us having sex together, whether I'm having sex with Annette, or whether I'm having sex with Mindy, or Mindy and Annette are having sex. It's amazing, but it doesn't matter.
Mm-mm.
Let me put it to you the way my mom used to put it to me. Angel food cake is awesome. You put icing on that angel food. That's even more awesome, yes? Sex is the icing.
And, like I said, we are not making this video for approval. We are making this video so that you guys understand the decision that we've already made. And yes, eventually we will be living together again. We actually have a 5 to 6 year plan set out for that, but that plan is kind of stalled till Annette can get back on her feet, because the plan does require us pulling money together, because we do eventually want to move out of state. And like I said, that's going to be
Years down the road.
5-6 years from now, because of the money that we have to pull together. But like I said, Annette can't do that until she's on her feet. So that plan is kind of
On the back burner.
on the back burner. This is not an open relationship by any means. We are not cheating on one another by any means.
Nope. The very definition of polyamory is a relationship between more than two people where each person knows of and approves of the other.
That was a conversation between myself and Annette that happened very early on in this relationship. Her and I sat down and I told her, I said, look, flat out, agree? There are no side dishes here. You and I are equals. And that same thing goes between Annette and Sam and me and Sam. We're all equals here.
We don't make a decision regarding the relationship without talking to the other person.
All three of us make the decision.
Now you
We
guys
don't
might
leave
say,
anybody either.
sorry. You guys might say, well, you guys, Annette and Sam, decided to get married. And we actually talked to Mindy about that for, I want to say, about a month and a half.
Something like that, yeah.
Before we made the final decision to get married.
Just to make sure that Mindy was okay with it and where she stood on it.
Mm-hmm.
And just for the viewers,
You know, I'm perfectly good with it. You know, because I realize that the love that they have for each other is not pushing me aside. It includes me.
you know, and yeah, there is certainly some time jealousy that goes on. And when I say time jealousy, I'm referring to the fact that Mindy and I live together, and her and I can have sex whenever we want. You know, or we can sit down and watch a movie whenever we want. And Annette does not have that ability right now. So certainly there is some time jealousy that goes on.
And I know on my part, there has been times where it's been a major fear of mine. What if Sam and Mindy fall so deeply in love again that I'm not needed anymore? Am I going to be put out? Am I going to lose them both?
And the answer to that question is no.
Hell no.
And I mean, we've already made arrangements to make up for some of that time. And we've talked about this at length. When it comes to our honeymoon, it is just going to be Annette and I. That does not mean we're not going to do something with Mindy when we get back, because we most certainly will.
That's definitely in the plan.
You know, when Annette gets her own place, yeah, there's going to be weekends that I spend the night with Annette and Mindy's chilling with Leroy Jethro Gibbs on NCIS. But there's also going to be nights where, as long as I'm already in bed, because I cannot get in bed without assistance, that I'm going to be chilling with, you know, a horror flick on Netflix or watching Star Trek ad nauseum because Mindy is going to stay the night with AJ.
Or, you know, Short Stack will have to, you know, hang out with Reed. Or, again, Leroy Jethro Gibbs on NCIS. Because me and Sam are together.
You know, and there's certainly going to be times that it's the three of us, but like I said, Mindy and I have been together for
10 damn years.
10 years. We have one hell of a system worked out between the two of us. Annette and I have to develop that system. So when she first gets her own place, it is going to be me and Annette solo for a while we get that system worked out. And yes, there is certainly going to be some time jealousy there.
Mm-hmm. You know.
But we've talked about it at length. In fact, it was Mindy's idea that we spend that much solo time together so Annette and I get that system together.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and one of us ends up going in for surgery. The other two are going to be together while that person's in the hospital.
Mm-hmm.
And the other thing is, how our finances going to work. And to be perfectly honest, Mindy and I have a joint account. She's got her own separate account because that's how it has to work with the disability. And it's going to be the same thing with Annette and I. Annette and I are going to have a joint account, but I won't be putting money into that account. The only reason I'm going to be on that account is so that if she's got to have surgery,
she's got to have surgery,
I can go in and make sure her bills get paid. And it's the same reason Mindy is on my account. If I'm going to have... I pay all the outside bills aside from rent.
And Sam may not be on my account, but he does know how to get to my account so that bills can be paid.
And let's be real, because of your disability, you can't manage finances.
Right.
I'm not trying to be King Dick here, but I do handle all the finances.
Because he's good with numbers. I'm not.
That might be a different dynamic with Annette. I don't know yet. We had a few financial incidences, but a lot of that was due to... No, actually, let me rephrase that. All of that was due to infection.
And major Swiss cheese brain.
Without the infection, I have no idea what Annette is like with finances.
To this day, I still can't believe how completely irresponsible I was.
But again, the financial end of things is nothing to do with why we made the decision that we made. We just know it's questions that you're going to have. So we're trying to hit all the bases. And like I said, we've already made the decision. We're just making you informed of that decision so that you can make the choice
to stand with us.
Or not.
Or find the door.
Now, I've pretty much said all my piece. Do you two have anything that you want to add?
I do want to clear up a little something here.
Okay.
A lot of people might be wondering, what exactly is polyamory? Is it even legal? No doubt there's going to be a lot of questions like that. And yes, polyamory is legal. It's under the same umbrella as polygamy, but it's not polygamy. Polygamy is primarily done under religious sects, like Mormons, like the fundamentalist Mormons, a few Christian denominations, by Buddhism, Hindu, most Islamic nations. They're big on polygamy. What polyamory is someone, it could either be a man or a woman, who has more than one partner, more than one love interest. And unlike polygamy, where it's usually heterosexual, polyamory can go either gender. It's free to be heterosexual, lesbian, gay, whatever.
I don't mean to interrupt, but let me put it to you like this. Polyamory is a castle where there are either one king and two queens, or two kings and one queen.
Not even necessarily. I've seen a few polyamory couples where they're straight lesbians.
But do you see where I'm coming from?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Like, pretty much any monogamous relationship that you can think of can be a polyamorous relationship.
Like that.
Yeah.
Easily. And
But
there are quite a few benefits to being polyamorous, too. Just as much as there can be quite a few negative sides to it as well. With more than two personalities in the mix,
Things can get hairy.
things can get very hairy. There's a greater instance of butting heads, of mismatched personalities. But at the same time, that's where polyamory can be even more beautiful.
Because, and I'm going to take it from there. Because, let's say, for example, I get into it with Sam. As a bystander, Annette can watch what's going on between me and Sam and go, you know, Mindy, I understand where you're coming from. Sam, I get where you're coming from.
no.
Here's how I would have handled it.
Or look at us both and say, you both need to grow the fuck up.
Yeah. You know, or I can look at a situation that Sam and Annette have going on, and I could say, you know, Annette, girl talk. You know, I wouldn't have handled it like this. I would have handled it like this.
Now, let's bring that into the reality of the situation. Because I basically had to lock you two in a room and walk away.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Twice.
Yeah. Yeah.
You were like, you two, fix it, figure it out now,
I'm not your freaking ref anymore.
or no fun for either one of you. Figure it out.
And, you know, I'm quite happy. I'm beyond happy with the decision that we've made, and I honestly cannot see a world without the two of you in it.
I can't see a world without the two of you in it either. I mean, the more time I spend in here, away from the two of you, the more I realize that
This is where you want to be.
this is there at home with the two of you is where I belong. I'm complete. I'm whole when I'm with the two of you. I have nothing missing. There's nothing more that I have to search for.
Yeah.
Now, I'm going to say this for Annette. Because you are currently legally married. What do you have to say to anybody that might possibly see this and come back with that as an argument?
I may still be married on paper. It's just a freaking piece of paper. My heart has not been in my marriage for 3 years. He mentally abused me. He emotionally abused me. And there was some physical abuse. Of course, but it was there. And I was not about to keep living in a situation that I knew one way or the other eventually would end up killing me.
Now, you having just said that in the way that you did brings up a question for me. And it's a question that we've talked about, but in the way that you just said that, I think the viewers need to understand. So I'm going to ask the question.
Mm-hmm.
If a legal marriage is just a piece of paper, why legally marry me?
Because it's a dream.
Do you want to elaborate on that a little bit?
It's something that I've always wanted since I was 15 years old. I knew that I was going to meet a man one day that would treat me just exactly the way you do. And he was supposed to be my legal husband. I mean, I had dreams of our wedding, everything, detailed, that I still have dreams of to this day. They have not changed a bit since I was 15 years old. And when I learned that it had always been a dream of yours to be able to be legally married, I knew that I love you so much that no matter what, I was going to do everything in my power to make sure that you have your dreams.
Do you have something that you want to add?
Yeah. Annette, you said that this has been a dream of yours since you were, what, 15?
15 years old.
Right. Just out of curiosity, I wonder if we're similar in that way. I've always seen it, the marriage, the family, the house with the white picket fence. I've always seen that as something that the able-bodied world takes for granted. Those of us in the disabled community have to fight tooth and nail for.
Mm-hmm.
And that's something else that you guys need to realize, is that when Annette and I do legally get married, it's not going to be a major hit, but we will take a financial hit because we are both on disability. But, we've sat down and figured it out over and over again. It's a hit that we can handle.
Mm-hmm.
What?
Yeah, you guys have sat and figured it out so many times it makes me see red.
You know, and yes, with Mindy being with us, it will help out tremendously. But we're not using Mindy for money. We're not using Mindy for sex.
No.
Nope.
I might be using her for cooking, but that's another story.
Yeah. It's only
No.
because you love my cooking.
No, we are not
Yeah.
not using her at all.
No.
But
It's only because my cooking is the bomb.
yes, it is.
Yes, it is. I have to agree there. I've missed your cooking for the last 4 months.
But I was finally to the point that I wanted everybody to know the decision that we have made. And I know we were hiding it for certain reasons. But I also know that it was really starting to bother Mindy. And in a way it was bothering me too. So I felt now was the time to come out about it. And, you know, whether there's backlash or not, we will deal with it the same way we have always dealt with it, which will be together.
And I know it was really bothering me. It's like everything I said on Facebook, everything I said anywhere was like, I need to be careful how I say this.
You know, and at this point, the backlash that we are truly worried about, I don't think it's going to happen. At this point, I think that's done and over with. Because there's not much more that can be done.
Nope.
So, like I said, I've said my piece. If you guys have anything more you want to add, go for it. If not, we'll just call it for this video.
I think I'm good. How about you, babe?
Honestly, I think I'm good.
Now, I don't know how consistently videos are going to come out on this channel. I'm putting this video here because, quite frankly, it's not appropriate for my other channel. But I would like to bring this channel back. However, it's not going to be in the same format it was. I want to focus on videos about living with disabilities in a polyamorous relationship.
Because, let's face it, being disabled, we're already ostracized.
You know,
We're already looked down on. Add something else to the fire.
So primarily the videos are going to be about polyamory, but it's going to come from the aspect of being physically disabled and polyamorous.
I'm really looking forward to our future and how much fun it will be.
Of course.
You know, and I would like to document, you know, when you come out of the hospital.
Absolutely.
The struggles we have figuring out a routine I would like to document our move. I would like to document the struggles that all of us have together.
Yeah.
'Cause I'm for sure that we're gonna bump heads at some point, but we'll figure it the hell out.
Like you said, babe, every relationship has its roadblocks and pitfalls. It's just a matter of, okay, is there an obstacle? How do I bust my way through it?
Exactly.
You know. So, I guess the new title for this channel would be Polyamorous Vlogging with Disabilities. Now, as to whether or not I actually changed the title of the channel, that's gonna be another thing. And quite honestly, that's gonna depend on my work ethic, which, since I've been sick, dealing with medical issues, my work ethic hasn't been very high lately. I'll be straight up honest, I've been fucking lazy.
Yeah, you've had your yearly dose of fuck it all.
You know, you might not see another video on this channel for 2 months now. I hope that's not the case, but it might be. I don't know. But I want to end this by saying that I love you both with all of my heart.
We love you too, baby.
And, you know, for those haters I know that are inevitably going to be there, you know where the door is. Don't let it hit you where the good Lord split you.
You know, for those of you that are drowning in your haterade, oh, what was that one robot on the cartoon?
Which robot?
With the kiss my shiny metal.
Oh, Bender?
As Bender would say, because we are all three in wheelchairs. You don't like it? Kiss my shiny metal ass.
You know, and like we said, we don't love one individual more than the other.
We're all equal in this. We're all a partnership.
Yep.
No, each of us might not get equal time, but we will find ways to make up for that. And that's part of where I said, you know, when you come out of the hospital and you get your own place,
You guys might be spending some time on your own.
yeah. Because, you know, we've got 3 months to make up for.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and as long as I'm in bed and my ass is doing okay,
Mm-hmm.
you want to go spend the night with Annette, go do it.
Yep.
Just make sure if there is an emergency, you're available.
Of course.
Either one of you, don't leave me hanging.
Oh, hell no.
That's
Never.
all I ask.
Never.
Annette would kick my ass before she let that happen. And same goes for you, short stack.
Damn straight.
But like I said, I want to end this by saying, you know, this is the choice I've made. Is it the smartest choice? I don't know. You know, is it the right choice? Yes.
100%.
And if there ever comes a time where it's not the right choice, we'll figure it out and take care of it if it happens.
We're bound to come up against some bridges now and then.
Of course.
We'll cross them when we get to them.
That's it.
But I'm going to go ahead and end this here. And I want to end it by saying that I love both of you very, very much.
I love both of you more than you could ever know.
And those of you that do stick by us,
Awesome.
we love you guys too.
And as for you two, love you, bonehead. Mwah. Love you, ya ho-ho.
Love you too, babe.
Mwah.
Yeah.
All right. I'm going to end the screen capture. I'll give you a call back as
All right.
we're editing this.